Okay, folks, we're going to get started. Please, in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on April the 10th, 2015, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 and on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement be made part of the minutes of this meeting, and I would ask all to rise for the salute of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Mr. Young is detained. He has an issue at his farm with one of the horses, and he'll be here as soon as he can.
Mayor Colombo?
Here.
4 members are present at this time.
All right, would someone like to make approval of the minutes for March the 20th, 2015, the regular and closed session minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay, is there any corrections, omissions, deletions anyone's aware of?
Not to my knowledge.
Hearing none, would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
I'm abstaining. I was not here at the last meeting.
The motion is carried with 3 in favor.
Okay. So before we go to the report on the governing body members, I'd like to do the presentation to Tom Heist, who is here. Obviously, we appreciate him being here. And I'll read the resolution. Although, Tom, I'm a little taken back. You're not wearing a bow tie. You know, I'll be like your mom. You know. So Tom works closely with the township. He's our risk management consultant with the JIF, and he has been quite an asset not only to our community but also to the JIF itself. So whereas Atlantic County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund Safety Incentive Program builds upon the township's efforts to promote safety and wellness in our community and work culture, Upper Township Risk Management Consultant Thomas H. Heist IV is recognized for his tireless efforts in providing many of the safety resources needed to promote health, safety, and wellness for the employees of Upper Township. Tom is always looking for new and innovative ways to increase our employees' safety awareness and decrease employee accidents through safety initiatives. Tom was recently recognized by Atlantic County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund for creating safety posters with safety messages that would reach all employees, and for taking time out of his day to visit Public Works to speak to the employees, as well as answer any questions they may present. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Committee of Upper Township that the committee extends its appreciation and publicly recognizes Tom Heist on his commitment to the safety and well-being of the Upper Township employees through his ingenious ideas and giving of his time. That the committee, on behalf of our employees and citizens of Upper Township, extend to Tom our congratulations on receiving the 2014 Atlantic County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund Safety Incentive Recognition Award. So Tom, if you come up, we'll present this to you. Come back, we have to get a picture of this. Come on back here. Congratulations and thank you for all of your help. Congratulations. Thank you very much. This. Get the. So thank you. You're welcome to head home. It's been a long day.
I just want to say one thing.
Sure.
You really have a caring and committed team. And I really think the culture of safety is improving with every meeting. I think the employees know that you care. And as I told the employees, there's two sides to safety. There's two costs. One is the financial cost, the other is the human cost. So we're trying to have a strong, safe environment because it saves the township money, and no one wants to see a coworker or a companion laid up or something worse that affects everyone. So I think everyone's buying into it, and it's exciting to join your team.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're doing a great job for us.
Thank you.
Next year when you win the award, though, I want the bow tie. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, and since we have Leon here, we have Mr. Costello, who is our auditor. Again, we'll forego the report of governing body till we get through the public hearing of the budget and all the resolutions that are associated with it. So, Leon, I'll turn it over to you, and if you would guide us through this process, I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Tonight is the public hearing on your budget, which at this point, you'll field any questions from the public. Your options will be to approve the budget as is, make amendments to it, and approve it, or do nothing and wait till another meeting. It hasn't changed since the introduction. There was no tax levy increase originally proposed. That's still the same. You do have a rateable decrease, so the rate will change between yours and the county and the school, which are not finished yet. Well, this county's finished yet, but the equalization is not finalized yet. So we don't know what the county and what the schools will be. The school's budget, I think, was in the paper today, I believe. But you only control yours anyway, and that's where we stand right now. We'll have one ordinance on here, which is a formality to, it says exceed the municipal budget appropriation limit. We're not exceeding anything, but we're doing the second part of it, establish a bank. And then you'll have the public hearing and then vote to adopt it or amend it.
Okay? Is there any questions that the committee has of Mr. Costello?
No, sir.
Right. So the first one is to open up for a public hearing for the calendar year 2015 to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
Right.
Which, as you just explained, we're not exceeding the municipal budget appropriation limits.
Correct.
But it's just a formality. So if there isn't any other questions for the Township Committee, I'll open it up to the public if anybody would like to address us with that particular ordinance. Okay, let the record reflect that there was no public comment, and I'll close the public hearing portion of that ordinance and entertain a motion for adoption.
Motion to adopt. Second?
Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried, 4 in favor.
Number 3 is another formality to open up the public hearing. It's a resolution to read the budget by title only rather than reading every single page in this document.
Motion to authorize. Second?
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay, and then the next part is
It's the
obviously
public
the
hearing.
public hearing to address any concerns that residents would have with respect to our introduced budget that we launched just about 30 days ago. Before I open it up to the public, John, would you like to make any comments, or any of the committee members?
No comment. Let's hear what the public has to say and proceed.
Okay. So with that, I'll open it up. Would anyone in the public like to address the proposed budget for 2015? As Mr. Costello stated, there's a zero tax levy. So basically, we're spending the same amount as last year and not cutting any of the services. So this is your time to address the Township Committee.
My name is Russ Moreno. Last meeting, Mayor, I was here. You happened to be away on business. And I had suggested at that point in time to have this budget when you do the workshops on it, to have it televised. What's happening here, basically, no matter what is said at this stand right now, nothing's going to change. You went through it, you know you're going to accept it and vote yes. But right now, the way things are going around and between our neighboring counties, with people losing work, so on and so forth, so many houses being foreclosed, you say like the budget, there's no additional monies added to it. But the fact is, I look back when you had a local use tax put into place a couple of years ago, which at the time you were a partner to it, we're still paying for that. Also in between that, there's this bond issue that initially started, if I recall right, around $2.5 million. It ends up to be over $3.5 million buying trucks and what have you. And we have to like slow down. I know myself, I'm in a position, I'm restricted to Social Security and what's left of the 401k. To losing a spouse that Social Security from her is gone. So they're going, I go down, you guys go up. And it's not just me, there's many people in this township like that. So I just like you guys to really consider when you start spending money and tell your department heads to calm down, use their heads, and think about everybody else around them. Not just themselves or what they need, that maybe they can do something better with a different tool or a different way. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to address the Township Committee? Last call. Well, it appears that there's no further public comment, and so at this time we'll close the public hearing portion, and I'll entertain a motion for adoption.
Barbara will read your
Oh,
resolution.
we have to read the statement. Okay.
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Upper, County of Cape May, that the budget hereinbefore set forth is hereby adopted and shall constitute an appropriation for the purposes stated of the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorization of the amount of $2,689,884.49.
Motion to approve.
Second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried with 4 in favor.
Now, the last thing on the budget that you have, number 5, 2 out of every 3 years, you're eligible to have your budget reviewed by just your CFO. It doesn't go to the state. If you meet certain conditions and you're in a certain financial position, you meet all those requirements. And this budget was not reviewed by the state. Barb will be signing off that everything's in compliance, and you need to pass that resolution for that.
Okay. Someone like to make a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved to approve.
Mr. Coggins? Mr. Pearson? Second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
You're all set.
Well, thank you, Leon, for your help. Thank you, Barbara, for all the work that you put into this, Barbara Spiegel, as well as Mr. Coggins, who heads our revenue and finance, and to all the committee members, and really all the heads of the departments. I certainly will take into consideration what Mr. Morano had requested to take the budget meetings in the future. They are very informal, but that doesn't mean that we can't do it. I will say that a lot of time was put into this, both in the public open workshop meetings, as well as work that's done behind the scenes by the department heads to trim their budgets on a lot of the requests that they had put in place. We obviously try and do our best to be very frugal with the funds that we receive from our residents. We are very cognizant of that. I think it speaks very highly that this budget has a zero tax levy. And I understand that there could be potential changes based on what the county overall rateable base is, but we were able to do that without cutting any services, without cutting any of our employees, and I think that shows some significant work on all sides to get to that endpoint. There are a lot of municipalities that aren't, and I don't want to say as frugal or as work as hard, but to be able to be in this position, I think is favorable compared to what it could have been, based on a lot of things that are going on. So.
Can I respond to you, please?
Sure, but please use the microphone because it is being taped.
Yeah, I went to a couple of these meetings that you did have, the workshops. What comes out of them the work that you do behind and some of your department heads will come up and speak for what they need and why they need it, so on and so forth. The biggest thing about putting this thing on television, it's a matter of a half an hour or an hour before a meeting, so everything's here and it's all set up to go. It's the same nights. But other towns do the budget workshops and all on their TVs, because I've looked at some other townships and how their television or televised meetings go. But the only thing I know is no matter what you do today, and you can say it to your kids or whatever, you can do better. And I know you can do better. You try harder, you can get things done if you really, really concentrate. If something happens that you had to, you'll do it. We're Americans, we can do it. It's bad enough we got a president running amok. We don't need it to happen local. The other thing is we can't just look at blinders here. We're not the only people here raising taxes. We got the county, we got the state, we got the federal. You go on, you got the gas. I mean, no matter what you touch, the food store, what started as a sales tax that I remember, 1% with Brendan Byrne is out the window now. It was 7. When's it going to go up to 8? When's the gas going to go up? So in other words, the budget is only so much in a pie. Piece here, piece here, piece here. What's left for the family? To enjoy life. That's what it's supposed to be about. You want us to live in this town to enjoy life. Well, let it be that people can enjoy life. Help them. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to say personally that I'd be very much in favor of televising the workshops. I think it would give people the opportunity to see, what really went on here. I think our department heads did a very good job of digging down, not only in the workshops, but also in the meetings that we had individually outside of the workshops, to try to get things going in the direction that we needed them to go. So I think it would be a great idea and a great service to the community to put on television.
Yep, I agree.
I agree with you also, John.
Well, thank you for those that commented. It's always important for this township committee to hear your comments. Sometimes, people say that it goes, unanswered and not taken seriously. Well, I can tell you that in all the years I've been here, that's really not been the case with the committee, whether it's whoever's been here in the past or who is in the present. All things that are contributed from the public are taken into consideration. So with that, Mr. Costello, we'll bid you adieu. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I'll start with you, Barbara, if you have anything for the Township Committee tonight.
I have nothing to report this evening, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Young?
Nothing at this time. We do have a number of contract negotiation items and personnel items for closed session.
Okay. I'll go to Barbara until Paul gets himself situated. Nothing? Paul?
Thank you. We'd like to request that we had in the budget to do some surveys, and there's a couple streets that we have some issues on, and in order to really find out what's wrong and how to solve those problems, I'd like to go out to get some prices to do the surveys, so that we can start looking at the engineering of those projects and roads and see how to best correct them. But I just wanted to get authorization before I went out to get those RFPs.
And this is budgeted in the engineering line item?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And it's for Claims Lane and the Commonwealth section, the municipal portion of Commonwealth Avenue in Strathmere. That's one of the roads we applied for a DOT grant for.
You need a motion on that? Motion to approve.
Well, to authorize
To
you
give
to
direction.
get bids, you're gonna bring them back?
I'll
before
bring the
RFI.
RFPs back and report back to committee
He
once I
just
get the
needs direction that
RFPs.
he's okay to do that and bring it back to you.
I'll second. Absolutely.
Paul, would it be possible with that to, whether it's a separate line item or the bid, just to see what it would cost, to see if we can afford it, you know, within the budget that we have, to take a look at that street up there where the cars are all scraping. It's up there in Beasley's Point, I want to say St. Andrews or St. Martin's.
By the primary school there? Elementary school?
It's on the Route 9 side where the cars come
Yeah, I'll
down.
take a
They
look
go-
at, I'll take a look at that again.
There's a hump.
Yeah. I can't remember what street it is though.
I think it's St. Martin's. Next thing, I just wanted to give the committee an update on the Beachville project. We have weekly meetings that kind of have the contractor and the Army Corps update everybody. And as you've probably been seeing from the updates, the dredge is needing additional work before it can mobilize to Ludlam Island. The latest prognosis is that it's going to be up in this area around March 18th, which would start pumping on...
You mean April 18th?
April 18th, sorry. And then start pumping around the 21st or 22nd of April. They've also completed the surveys where they had surveyed or put out the bid initially. We were going to need around 460,000 cubic yards of sand to complete the Strathmere area. It's going to take well over 1.3 million cubic yards of sand to do Strathmere. They had done their surveys well in advance of the losses that we had over this past 8 or 9 months. So that, you know, we did lose a lot during that time, so that accounts for, I think, a lot of that. So in doing that, with the late start of the survey, the late start of the Beachville operations and the additional amount of sand, that's obviously going to push the schedule out, and they're anticipating that, you know, we probably would not be finished Beachville operations into late June, early July.
Now, is that inclusive of the inlet section as well? or-
Yes, it is. Yes. And what they've done is, I did meet with them and they discussed how they're going to taper around, because obviously the initial plans, you know, most of the state park was there and we had the dune system there. The new obviously that's been eroded away. They are going to tie in the old dune down past where Commonwealth Avenue, where we had put in all the rock throwing, and then also put in the beach fill on the state park area. So they'll be tying and filling in that, similar to what we did with our beach fill.
So then, basically what you're saying is that we'll have the pipes on the beach, you know, probably into potentially July 4th?
Most likely for July 4th, the pipes will be down in the Whale Beach section. They'll probably be done pumping to the north. There is one other potential conflict with the Beachville and Avalon. The same contractor was awarded that contract. The contractor has not updated his schedule to include how he's going to incorporate the Avalon municipal project with this Army Corps work yet.
And so they'll make access available to beachgoers, because that, after Memorial Day, obviously, we're going to start having people here.
Right.
So they'll make access over the pipes, that if they're still there?
They'll be over the pipes. The only thing that'll be closed is they maintain a 1,000-foot length area that's closed for a work zone that would be closed as they're working. But otherwise, yes, they maintain access over the pipes, and that when they reconstruct the crossovers, they can't have, you know, 2 adjacent crossovers closed at any one given time. They'd have to kind of skip crossovers, and those crossovers have to be completed within 10 days after the beach is reopened behind them.
That's both pedestrian and vehicle.
Correct. Yeah, we have 2 vehicular crossovers and 2 handicap pedestrian crossovers that they're going to construct. And then the rest of them are just their standard pedestrian crossings.
Okay.
The next thing I wanted the committee update to know that the DEP Clean Shores program is starting this week. They're going to be having the Department of Corrections workers out, starting over in Strathmere, cleaning up the beach, not the beach, but the dune area, and then back bays in Strathmere. Then they're going to come offshore and work on Roosevelt Boulevard and Tuckahoe Road in the wetland areas. And that work will start probably Wednesday or Thursday. And that's all I had to report today.
Okay. Mr. Coggins.
Just wanted to thank all the department heads for your for your hard work in helping to prepare the budget.
I don't think we had a vote on that.
I'm sorry.
I think your question came up after the first and the second. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
We should have a vote on that.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Hoggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just wanted to thank all the department heads for your diligence in helping to prepare the budget, and especially Barbara Spiegel, who spent long hours making some of the budget changes and adjustments, and then digging deeper into a couple of the associated schedules to get the budget done on time.
Okay. Mr. Morrow?
Okay, down at Strathmere the other day, Bayview Drive's come along very well. For anybody that's been down at Strathmere, what, it's just one more coat they're gonna have to put on top of that?
They have one more coat of asphalt to put on there. They have to finish up a couple of driveways and then, kind of fill in stone and some turf repair between the curb and the sidewalk.
Everybody knows we've had a harsh winter, and it's done a job on our roads, so I asked the motoring public to pay attention to the road crews that are out there repairing the potholes and the cracks, especially our township employees will be out there, your county employees and your state employees, so use some caution when you're out there driving around. And also leaf pickup. Make sure you get your leaves out there, and we don't want to have any twigs or any branches mixed in with the leaves. And above all, we do have an ordinance that covers trees. If you're going to be taking down any trees, the township will not be picking up any timbers from tree removal. All they're going to be doing is picking up your trimmings for any clippings that you have from your trees. So pay attention to that, and that's it. That's all I have to report.
Okay. Mr. Pearson?
Just two things. I noticed in the packet that there was a proposal, an ordinance, or excuse me, a resolution from North Wildwood regarding the protection of the federal military bases in New Jersey. And that does have an impact on our municipality. We have a lot of people that live and work here in this area that work at Fort Dix, also at the NAFEC Center there in Atlantic County. So I would propose that we do a similar thing and follow their resolution and do the same thing. That's the first thing on my agenda. So I'd move that.
We'll put that on another agenda.
Yep. Any discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
And one final thing, there is a big event, and it's down in Cape May, and it's for the whole county of Cape May. But the U.S. Coast Guard is celebrating a whole week of events there, beginning on the 8th of May through the 12th of May. And I think it would behoove us to go down there and take part in different things and visit the Coast Guard base and support their activities.
Well, actually, if I could interrupt, that's one of the things I was also going to bring up. I have the information here. And I think, again, it's something that we should do a resolution in support of, because this is really creating a Coast Guard community for all of Cape May County. And there are a lot of Coast Guard individuals that serve, that live in the township, have an active role, and certainly are protecting the boaters and, even those that, potentially are swimming if they're out of lifeguard range or whatever. So I think going along with that, the festival, that we should also have a resolution in support of that as well, because I know on Friday night they're going to have proclamations. It's going to be a flyover and a lot of things, and they've asked really all the elected officials to come. And I think it would certainly fare well for our township if we were to do a resolution supporting Cape May County as a Coast Guard community.
I'd second that.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Yeah, just to follow up, that's going to be Friday at 5:30 on May 8th.
Right.
So they're going to have festivities throughout the weekend, as Mr. Pearson said. But I think it would be great if we could all kind of get together and go down there in support of it. The only other thing I have, Paul, I want to come back to you. Any updates on Hope Corson Road with the paving between 9 and Stagecoach.
I know it was actually supposed to be starting construction about 2 weeks ago. I have not heard any update. Last I heard, I thought there was they're waiting on Verizon to come in. They have to reset some manholes. But I'll find out and get an update for committee on the status of that.
Yeah, because I drove by there today, and the street is in dire need of repair.
Yeah, I'll report back to committee via email this week.
Okay, thanks. All right, thanks for all your comments. Barbara, let's roll on to the resolutions, please.
Okay, item number 6, honoring the memory of Kitty Leaning King, a woman Air Force service pilot and World War II veteran for her years of service to this country.
Move the resolution. Second?
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 7, designating the first Thursday in May as a day of prayer in Upper Township.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is
And
carried.
for those that would like to know that day, it's the first Thursday in May. This is something that we have traditionally done and was started by President Reagan. And it really is really a nice little event we have here at the Township Hall. All denominations, reverends, pastors, priests, they all come, and it's a good day to say a few words and thankful to God. So.
Item number 8, calling for the New Jersey Legislature and administration to adopt a new, more sensible approach to affordable housing.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 9, opposing Atlantic Coast oil and gas drilling adjacent to the state of New Jersey.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 10, appointment of Norman W. Briggs to act as special legal counsel.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Okay. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 11, authorizing the filing of a recycling tonnage grant application.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 12, declaring certain township property and equipment as surplus and authorizing its disposal by sale of an online auction website.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 13, authorizing the award of a professional services contract with Dr. Stuart C. Farrell, Coastal Research Center of the Richard Stockton College of New Jersey, for shoreline monitoring and consulting services for beach-related issues.
Move the resolution.
First and second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 14, authorizing the execution of a contract with Adams, Raymond, and Hagan Associates for the maintenance and conversion of the official tax map to a georeference digital format.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Paul, do you have anything to add to this?
No, this is following up on the digitization of our tax maps to kind of comply with the Division of Taxation's recommendations and moving that project forward as part of a phasing plan. We started part of the project last year with funds, and then this is just utilizing the funds that you budgeted for in the budget to continue that project.
Okay.
Mr.
Call the
Barr?
roll.
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 15, appointing the Lomax Consulting Group as an environmental consultant for the preparation of the New Jersey Community Forestry Management Plan.
Move the resolution?
Second.
And I'm going to stop and call on Dan. We had a discussion about this.
There's one
this
minor
morning.
change from last meeting. Last meeting, it was, the grant is $3,000, and it was indicated that the proposal by Lomax was revised so that it wouldn't exceed an additional $500 on the part of Township's responsibility. However, when I reviewed their proposal, there must have been a calculation error because it's actually $600 additional. So you had indicated that you thought it was going to be a max 5, it's 6, so it's another $100. But $3,000 of the cost is going to be paid for through the grant.
One thing is, if this availability of funds document is part of this resolution.
I mentioned to Barbara this morning that it needed to be revised, and I believe it's been revised to the 3,600.
Yes, I did revise it today.
Thank you for checking on me.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 16, requesting the approval of the Director of the Division of Local Government Services to establish a dedicated trust by rider for the Upper Township Recreation Trust Fund pursuant to NJSA 40:48-2.56.
Move the resolution?
Second.
This is pursuant to Hobie's request at a prior meeting. This enables, Barbara, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this enables the outside entities to make donations to the township so that we can have an account for those donations and it wouldn't cost us anything for events.
So if a private firm wanted to donate for some sort of festivity or whatever, we'd have a way of accepting that.
Yes, this creates a budget line item for that.
And pay, not a budget line, it would be a trust account.
Trust
separate
account, I'm
trust
sorry,
account.
I apologize.
And then a way to pay the expenses for those events.
So it's kind of set up like a foundation would be in a nonprofit kind of thing.
It allows her, Barbara to create the account, and that's the name of it, it's a trust fund. Similar to, frankly, what you have with the Developers Fund.
Mm-hmm.
It's outside money that comes in, and she's able to use it, and you're right, it's not part of the budget.
Right, so we have first and a second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Would someone like to make a motion to pay the bills?
Hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
There were 3 reports from the municipal departments, animal control, construction code, and tax collector. They will be available tomorrow at the clerk's office, but for now I'd like to make a motion to accept the reports.
Second.
Let's call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay, so we've reached the public comment period of the meeting. If anyone would like to address the Township Committee, now's the time to do that.
Mr. Mayor, my name is Ludwig Samselsky from the Seville area. In your recent travels, have you made any effort to connect with businesses that would move into our township, such as pharmaceutical distribution, medical supplies?
Excuse me, can you wait? That's a directional mic, all multi-directional, so you don't have to hold it. That's why it's getting the feedback.
It's also ill-fitting.
It had a piece of paper in it.
Absolutely. So I pose the question, Mr. Mayor, have you had to talk to anybody that would move into our township as pharmaceutical distribution, medical supplies, things that you have some contact with?
Well, I can't say that I've done that individually. They normally reside in areas where there's advanced shipping close to an airport, But, you know, it'd certainly be something that would be welcomed. You know, it's not something that by design, because of the nature of the shipping of the materials and the prescription medications, normally they locate in an area that's close to, say, FedEx or UPS, and certainly near airports, so that the shipping is done quickly. It doesn't mean that, you know, it wouldn't be nice to have them here, but you know, for those specific types of manufacturers, they usually do. If you look at where they're located, in Philadelphia, they're outside the Newark area, and that's mainly because of the shipping problems and the need to ship it out quickly so that there's no degradation of the medication.
Have you had any contact with other large rateable businesses?
In the past, we've had some discussions with some outside attorneys that have talked to us about potential developers. You know, we had some general interest in the past. Obviously, the economy slowed down dramatically in recent years, although it seems that it's coming back. And we hope that those companies that have reached out through their attorneys for potential development will come to fruition. Well,
this should be a large concern, as most of our real estate values have been reduced anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000. There's a need to utilize, for instance, the Verizon building. A lot of speculation as to what's going on with the Verizon building. Has it been sold, sitting there? Nobody wants to take the responsibility of some of the technical things that are part of it. The Auto Plaza went out of business. Route 9 and Pine Street has been sitting there since 2003, I believe. We have the foreclosed abandoned properties, as Mr. Mariano said, and the old Township building, which is a wasted asset. What can we do with that? We've heard that they were going to turn it over to the VFW, the American Legion, whatever. Do something with it. It's a perfectly fine building. If somebody wants to lease it for $1 for 50 years, 25 years, whatever it is, let them take it over, let them improve it. It'll benefit the township in the long run. In recreation, what happened to the fishing pier next to the Tuckahoe Inn? Disappeared. It was supposed to be someplace that people could go fishing after they got rid of the bridge. There's no bridge, there's no fishing pier.
Actually, if I can interrupt, there was never a proposal to do it on our side. It was always proposed to do it on the Summers Point side. And that's a state-owned property, so we really, I mean, we certainly would love to have it on our side. What they are trying to do is generate some sort of parking area that would at least accentuate the Beasley's Point area with bike paths and walking paths on the parkway. But the fishing pier was always designed to be on the Summers Point side.
We had reference to a semi-pro soccer team that wants to pay the township $2,000 to come in and just ruin the township's fields. You don't need a semi-professional team. It was put forward to us that it was supposed to be for the kids. These kids are college age. These kids are out of high school. If we have anything to do with those fields, Advantage Field and so forth and so on, it should be for the children of the township, not some outside group coming in.
Mayor, there was never a proposal for an outside organization to host semi-pro soccer games. It was an organization that is affiliated with the PDL team that plays in Ocean City at the high school, but they were talking about doing programs with our youth programs.
Exactly.
But nothing was.
It wasn't a semi-pro team.
They got thrown out of Ocean City. They didn't want them on those fields. So why should we get them?
We didn't have anybody apply that was a semi-pro team, sir.
Another thing, according to the newspaper, the lights at the Amanda Field will be ready for fall baseball. What kids' teams plays baseball in the fall? Does anybody know? I don't know. The kids play during the summertime. It's another one of those loopholes that somebody is trying to get through.
There is
permanent lavatories.
Hold on. You want to make statements, we'll respond to them. Okay? There is a fall league, first of all.
Baseball?
Yes, sir.
And what are the age group?
Well, most of them are usually older and more seasoned players, but that's...
It includes the league as well.
But they're not C League and beginners. They're experienced baseball players.
Experienced baseball players.
Right.
So what are we promoting? Semi-professional baseball?
No.
No,
That is the most ridiculous statement I've heard all evening, okay?
Is that
We're
right?
talking about young children. We're not talking about
You said
anybody,
experienced children.
well, experienced that they know how to play baseball. They're on a traveling team.
Give us some age groups.
10 to 12, 14-year-olds.
Well, that's children in the right age.
I don't think-
Who plays that dark? They got to go to school at 10 to 12
No,
years
we,
old.
well,
they're going
that's
to
one of the
school
reasons
next
why we're
year.
putting
Why they
lights
need
on the
the
field,
lights.
so that they can play during the fall season.
It's a waste of money. It's also a waste of money to put in permanent lavatories. You go to any of the townships, Dennis Township, Middle Township, Lower Township, even Ponder Lodge, which is a state recreation area, portable lavatories. You don't need things permanent. To have things permanent means you're going to have somebody else out there checking them out, cleaning them up. And let's face it, the public isn't that clean when they don't have to clean up after themselves. Snack bar, we don't need that. We got plenty of vendors. I can name 5. As a matter of fact, one's in Beasley's Point. It's got a nice big red truck. Be more than happy, I'm sure, to come out to the field and sell hot dogs and anything else that people would want to buy. These are the things I'm talking about tonight. There'll be other nights and more things. So my 5 minutes is up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Ted Kingston, Strathmere. It doesn't surprise me that the beach fill is kind of ending up 3 times this size. You know, when you look at it, you can just kind of get a feel. Most people kind of look at the coastline, but if you go just off the coast, it's like sliced at an angle there, and it's really deep and big. So the question is, so how does that work with the Army Corps if we're going from, what you say, 400,000 to 1.2 million?
It's still fully funded.
It's still fully
Yes.
funded.
What they do is, all the Army Corps projects, and even when we did our project, they award it with additional options, because they know when they do the survey, the beaches are an ever-changing situation. So they put in additional options for, you know, 250,000 cubic yards of sand, 500,000 cubic yards of sand. So they have increments of options that they can add to the contract, because once they come out, like at this point, once the contract was awarded, within 20 days before they start filling, they have to go out and survey it. They survey it, and then they check it against the template that they need to put it in to verify how much sand is going to be needed. And then they decide, okay, what options do we need to award? And that's where they're at the process right now, is right before the dredge gets here, they determine how much sand they need to see if they have to award any options. And the Army Corps is in the process of awarding those options.
I mean, it could have gone the other way. I mean, if somehow the sand had replenished itself, then we may have not needed what they originally thought as well. So it goes both ways.
There's actually areas in Ocean City, like in the 34th Street area, that they don't have to fill because that beach is already to profile or has more sand in profile. So it's a common thing to have things come and go.
But they end up paying Great Lakes.
It's part of the federal program, Ted, that they pay to the template, and they maintain to the template too.
Okay.
So when they start it, they survey before they award the contract, and then they survey it as contracts go, and they build to the template.
Okay, because you hear the number all the time. That number actually varies, and it's not necessarily a fixed number on the cost.
This particular replenishment is fully funded for all 3 areas: the south end of Ocean City, for the Ludlam Island, Mead, Strathmere, and the Sea Isle. So, you know, whatever the amount of sand was needed to complete this project will be included in that federally funded project with no cost to the township.
But these projects, just like our paving projects, they're a unit price contract. In other words, you have an estimated quantity of how much material or sand, in this case, that you're going to need, and then you pay the contractor for exactly what he puts on the beach.
And just to follow up on the letter I'd written to the paper.
About the inlet dredging.
Yes, I'm sure you've worked at it but.
Very hard.
But the consequences are, I mean, I think there needs to be some realization. Nobody wants to say to the Army Corps, well, there's an unintended consequence here. But I think the unintended consequence is that the help being given Ocean City is going to have a negative impact on Strathmere because that inlet is going to fill worse and more often than it already does. And seeing as how it's not being addressed this time, I mean, my prediction is that I'm afraid this one is fully funded, the next one isn't. And I think being the inlet isn't being corrected, being you weren't able to attain that, it's going to cost a couple years down the line. It's when the township's got to come up with their share, it's going to be big because I just don't see this last. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong. I'd really like to be wrong on this. But if the last two beach fills ended up short of expected lifespan, with the inlet being dredged and cleaned out, if the inlet is clogged, the lifespan is going to be short because the water's not going to run out the inlet. It's going to cut across the south. It's going to cut to the south across the north end of Strathmere, and we're going to lose all that sand and quickly. I mean, that's, you know, I would give that high odds, and I have a feeling that the experts wouldn't disagree with that. I just...
Well, I mean, Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but several meetings that Paul and I had attended along the very beginning planning stages, we had brought up the inlet section. And I'm sure you've heard this from me before. The reason why we couldn't wait to have the inlet considered is that they felt that the permitting and everything would probably prolong this an additional year. What they did indicate to us is that a future beach replenishment, they would consider taking the sand from the inlet. This project that was federally funded had already been put in place, and they determined the sand bank where they were going to take it from. And I mean, even though the inlet is used a lot by boaters, obviously all summer long, it's still not a navigatable inlet. I mean, there's no channel markings or anything like that.
That part's not a consideration in my thinking. I'm looking at it more from a beach protection standpoint.
Right. But they did indicate, Paul, that they would consider taking it for future beach replenishments from the inlet.
Well, that's where it's scheduled to. All future beach replenishments.
5-year plans.
Well, and the Ocean City section's a 3-year cycle. So potentially within 3 years, they'll be back there pumping for Ocean City, which would take it from the inlet.
I mean, I guess my argument is if they have to do another 800,000 yards of sand because of the damage in the inlet, I mean, what's the cost of that? And that's what you're weighing against the cost of moving the dredge over to a borrow area that's already there. I mean, it's not like that borrow area is not there.
That 800,000 is not just in the inlet. There's only about 130,000 cubic yards in the inlet. That's spread out. They actually added 40 feet of berm width probably from Williams down to Prescott. They added 40 feet in berm width.
Okay.
And so it's for the erosion all the way down through Whale Beach. So that additional volume of sand is island-wide within Strathmere and Whale Beach. There's only 130,000 cubic yards going in on the state park area.
Right, but I mean, a lot of the area that's gouged out is, say, from Williams up to the state park.
Right.
I don't want to belabor it. I just think, I
I
have bad feelings about where we're going to end up.
I understand what you're saying, and obviously, I can tell you that it was exhaustingly, the conversation continued every time we had meetings as to why can't you use the inlet. But I guess in fairness, and I'm not saying that they're right or wrong, but the Army Corps does have experience in doing this, and, you know, they determine the area of where they're going to take the sand from. So, and, you know, we just did not want to take a chance that for whatever reason, Strathmere would be eliminated from the project because of delay. You know, we just couldn't take that chance or the risk, because it's a huge project, and the fact that it's totally funded is a great opportunity for the township.
Was there ever a response, like, what is the view from the Army Corps as to what effect the South Ocean City beach fill is going to have on the inlet in northern Strathmere? I mean,
I don't recall that being discussed, but Paul, you're more involved.
That's one of their monitoring things that they're going to be monitoring, because they've never had this much sand in the system. So they can't predict, because that type of inlet is undetermined. You can't model that to where it's at. So
my prediction is all that sand in South Ocean City is going to end up in the inlet and make things worse for us. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Young has joined us. Any other comments?
Mike Jones, 263 Marshallville Road. Just to clear the air for you guys, Fall League Baseball is for ages 8 to 13, just to educate you on that. And Dennis Township has permanent restrooms. Egg Harbor Township has permanent restrooms. Middle Township has permanent restrooms. And a concession stand added to these permanent restrooms allows these organizations to make money to help offset the cost to their parents during the course of their season. The concession stands do generate quite a bit of funding for these organizations to help pay for the officiating, pay for uniforms, and pay for equipment. To have a porta pot at a field and have some kids come through the park and tip it over, coaches tip it back over, it's not a pleasant porta pot to use after it's tipped over. So the permanent restrooms in the area of the playing fields should be there for the people to use, so they don't have to deal with a dirty porta pot that's been flipped over. Mr. Young can attest to flipped over porta pots throughout Amanda's Field. It happens all the time. So having a permanent bathroom there, having the coaches responsible to clean up those bathrooms and check them before they leave at night and lock the doors, in the long run, it saves the township money.
Since you brought it up, when was the last time?
Hold on, we're not having a private conversation here. When you're fit, sir. Sir,
I will address
I would only ask that
the
you
permanent
respond to him if you'd like, but you have to follow
the permanent bathrooms in Dennis Township's park are attached to the recreation building in the front where the gym is. If you walk around the backside by the basketball courts, there is a men's room and a women's room with a children's changing table for the parents to go in and use, because porta pots do not come with changing tables.
Correct.
Right. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public portion of the meeting, and we'll call on Mr. Coggins to bring a motion into executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act: contract negotiation with CASA Payroll Services, shared service agreement with Dennis Township, shared service agreement with Cape May County for heavy equipment fleet maintenance, and the engineer. Personnel. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken, or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. With respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Second. Let's call the roll, please.
Mr.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you all for attending this evening. Have a great evening. Safe travels home.